I want to see how far I can take him as far as what I can do with his mind. You know what I mean? Because I'm starting to, like Julia said the other day, like we'll take dogs in of all different types, with different problems, different breeds. But after they go through the program a little bit, they start to all kind of feel similar, you know, because they can enter a certain mind, which is what we train. I want to see where I can get him. Is it going to be just like a shepherd or what? But I already see what I want to see now, which I did not see when he was here, which is a connection to a human, communication with a human, intent to follow the human, and to understand that we're a pack, and to understand that he's not calling the shots. The way that he's behaving now, now I can mold him, and I'm curious to see just how far you can bring a guy like this, and how trustworthy they can be to make their own decisions that go against what's in their DNA to do. You know, like don't chase the wild animals, or don't go after the dogs, or don't do these things that you want to do. How far can you bring it with a dog like this, and how much of it is relied on relationship versus just the punishment of the e-collar? More difficult dogs, it tends to be that the relationship, it makes or breaks the training. So even with spectacular training, top-notch, meaning the dog understands exactly what to do and has a high level of performance, the relationship isn't right, the dog won't perform well because they don't care to listen to the owner. Even though there's corrections, they kind of look at the person and they say, I still don't respect you. You're lucky you got this kind of thing. So that's why relationship's that important part, and that's why we have people, that's why we talk about dogs a certain way, so that we can get people to understand what they really are, so that we can change their mindset, so that they can interact with them accordingly, and by doing so changes the way the dog perceives the human. And therefore, once they decide that they're going to follow this person, and this person's, like, you know, for lack of better terms, what was I going to say? They're capable. They're an adequate owner, or an adequate leader, competent leader. Pick one of those ones to edit in there. Then they'll give it to you, and they'll follow you, and they'll respect you. But if they don't think that you are, then they push you forever. And listen, some people just aren't leaders of other living things. Not everybody is a leader. Most living things aren't. That's how it works in a pack. Most of them aren't leaders, they're followers. Whether it's a dog or a person, most of them are followers, and that's fine. You need more followers than you do leaders. That's how it works. So the leader can be saying, this is the direction we're going in, and everyone else can say, let's go in that direction, so we can all get the work done. If we're all trying to lead, then, so some people just aren't leaders, and the dog knows it. They know it, you know? And so if that's the case, then you have to live with more structure and more rules. You can't have what some people can have, where you can kind of let the dog live a more free life, and the dog still behaves because the relationship's not there, because again, they go, no, you're not that. If you are that, and they smell that, and they see that in you, and they see that you are leader material, plus you have great training, and you have the right perspective of a dog and what a dog is, you know, through the scope of nature, not through like books that people wrote and told you how to think about them, but the dog will tell you, right? Once you start viewing them that way, and you are leader quality, and you do get some training, and you understand how to carry yourself and interact with them, and then you understand how to put the structure in the day and the consequences for bucking the system, then all of a sudden this shit gets easy. And you're not only not struggling with your dog, it's easy. It's easy for you. It's never easy to have a dog like it's a breeze, it's no problem, it's work. But the thing is like the dog respects you, it becomes so much easier for you than every other dog owner, that it's not even fair. That's how easy it becomes. Not easy raising a dog, even when it's easy. But man, when it's not easy, it is treacherous. And as soon as you get to that side where your dog respects you, it becomes so much easier for you. It's not even on your radar that you even work with your dog anymore. You move on and you think about other things. You're not even thinking about training your dog anymore, or working with your dog anymore. That's all done. You got it. You got the training, you got the respect, now you're just living life and doing your thing, you know? And dogs make mistakes, but it's not like a daily, hourly, minutely, stressful existence with the thing. It's here and there, they make hiccups, you take care of it because you know what to do now, and you move on. And the last thing you're thinking about every day before you go to bed is your dog's training and your dog and being the leader and all that. But in the beginning, you got to put in the work. He's a year and a half. a year and a half from now, he's a full-blown adult. Let's have the job done. Let's give ourselves a year and a half to get, to understand that he's going to continue to develop. And that's our opportunity to shape it. We're not going to expect to let him be an adult before he is. So the reason why I'm saying that is 3 months down the road, he's doing really good, and you start giving him all the freedom in the world as if he's an adult dog. He'll get in over his head and make mistakes that didn't have to be made. So I want to be looking to give him any type of responsibilities like protecting or anything like that, and unless you have to be realistic and know if you can handle it or not, because as soon as you give those responsibilities, if you're not the real deal, right, as far as being able to lead him, it's not going to work. It's not going to work well. If you are, you get your cake and eat it too. And like I said, a small percentage of people do get that from their dogs. They get to eat their cake and have it too, which means, I can have my dog sleep on the couch. I can have my dog bark at the door with somebody coming in at an inappropriate time, and let him have that responsibility to guard the family, because I can shut that shit down. And he knows that within confrontation, if I snap my fingers, if he doesn't listen, I'm not even going after the criminal anymore. I'm going after you. I don't care about the burglar. You're not listening to me? You know what I mean? So it depends on the relationship is what I'm trying to say. It all depends on the relationship. Now you can still get a dog to listen to you pretty damn well with a shitty relationship if you have the e-collar, but there's side effects to that. They whine a lot, they're fidgety. They'll still do the things you're asking of them, but they struggle doing it. That depends, I believe, on who's operating the dog's life, So, because how come you can send it to another person and then the problems start to go away? It's because it's the operator of the dog, And I don't want to say operator but I mean like who's operating the system of consequences. For us, it's the cops, it's the government, it's the school systems. For the dog, it's the person who's responsible for his behavior, and its development, which is the owner or owners. Whoever's with him is essentially operating the system of like consequences and rewards to shape the thing until its perspective has changed and got so solidified, like I said, with these dogs. Once they get a belief system and once we change his and it's where we want it to be, he's pretty much going to be golden unless we run into new situations, and then you use the training to get him through that until it's no longer a new situation, but he'll be fine. You just teach him, you tell him when he's doing right and when he's doing wrong and give him the direction. That's operating. I mean, what else? You can call it something else, I'm sure, but that's what I'm doing. I'm responsible for tagging him if he starts to do something wrong, or recalling him if he starts to do something wrong. I'm operating it. Am I not? Yeah, I would assume so. So because it's on a remote, it makes even more sense that that's what I'm doing. So how you do it is everything. If my dog is like, for example, this is probably way off topic, but I might as well put it in here. You can either put it in another video or not even use it at all. But if I'm sitting here and my dog who's underdeveloped, which is like 90% of the ones that come in here, he's got this top-notch train and I got him in a sit, we've done good, but now I need to, there's something 10 feet away that's getting him distracted. It could be a person with a dog trying to talk to me. That's a common one. Could be a handful of ducks going down the path. It doesn't matter what it is. It's your dog wants it because it hasn't had it before, and everything in its body's telling him to go up there. If I continue to tell him to sit, I can correct whining, I can get the state of mind and stuff. But if it's an underdeveloped dog, meaning the dog hasn't experienced the world, I think the best way is to do a setup. Don't go out into the real world with an underdeveloped dog. Do setups to start developing how you want them to shape their belief system, so that when we do go to the real world, the belief system's already there. Here's an example. You run into a dog and a person on the walk. It happens. It catches you off guard. Why not go on a walk and accidentally do that? Why not just set that up with a couple friends, right? Have them come over and make it feel organic to the dog, like you're going on a walk and you're bumping into a person, and you're going to teach the dog what not to do first, because that's what he's going to want to do, and then what to do. And so the way that we do it is we walk up to the people, and we're in that situation now that the dog starts messing up, and the dog runs past me and goes up on them and gets corrected and recalled, and then we reset the situation. Meaning I walk away, the folks that are helping us out walk away, we settle the dog, we head back to the situation. Notice very quickly that the dog does not run up on the people, right? And then when the dog's not running up on the people and they're not in command and they're more settled, you and give them a pet and all this stuff. So they can learn even without a command that there's a boundary, you can't cross up here. Now the next step is to show the dog when they're allowed to cross that boundary, if it's appropriate, which is the dog stays there, I go up to the people, I have an interaction, now the dog's behind me. I like to do it several feet, so if the dog's right where I was, we'd be talking about right here, and the person would be in front of me, and I'd be able to look back at my dog. If I hear whining and stuff, this is where I can shush, right? And I can correct and say down and all that stuff. But if the whining's too much, to me, what I think needs to happen is I step back, meaning I'm the line, right? You don't go past me to a stranger. I step back with a dog, I tell the dog to break, it goes up to them, it gets corrected. And it gets recalled and we do it over again. Until the taste is out of its mouth. He now no longer wants to do that behavior. That's not a behavioral choice I desire anymore, so therefore there's no whining about it because I went and touched the stove. What this is this is a rule. And make sure here's the thing, is these should be strangers. These should be strangers to your dog. It shouldn't be somebody your dog knows, because what we're teaching in this moment is going up on strangers who are people and who are dogs is breaking a rule, okay? So it's a no-no. So you just don't go up on them. We're teaching them with one person, one set of people, and then another, and then it gets to the point when we're walking down the street, they see those other people and dogs walking as the same. That if I go up on them, I get corrected. And then we prove it to them by if they get fidgety and they do want to go up on a person, I'll lean into that in a real life situation. The dog will start to make a move towards the people, and I'll correct and recall, and all the training's there, and he's like, oh yeah, that's right. And it just proves to him it's everybody, and it generalizes it. And now it's a rule, and I can go off leash with my dog, and he's dodging people in groups, unless I've offered. So the next thing is, you know, when I walk away from the dog, and he's chilling there, and I'm talking, and it's doing good, I'm gonna turn around, and I'm gonna say break, and offer him to say hi. Then there's the whole like teaching him how to say hi. I'm not gonna get into this video, but if the dog makes a mistake, you say no, you send him away, you start again, all that stuff. But you can see the way we're doing it. We're letting the dog make choices, then we're saying wrong choice, try again. With, not just saying wrong choice, punishment. Because you wanna know why? Because that's how they remember what the wrong choice was. They don't care if you just say it was the wrong choice. Prove it to them it's something they don't want to happen again, and they will avoid it for you. And then when they avoid it, the next rep, you say good. And that might look with just say, instead of jumping, they kind of like offer to be petted with all fours on the floor. Then that's a good, right? And now you're shaping. You got to break it down for them. This is raising them. By the time the dog's an adult, you're not doing that anymore. The dog knows what to do. It takes time. It takes all the time that we're spending going and having all this fun with our dogs. That's the time we should be spending with this core stuff, you know? What are you gonna run out, when you step out your door, what are you gonna run into? People and dogs. Possibly cats and other little animals, but people and dogs are the big one. And so that's our big, we make sure the dogs understand. If somebody were to walk around this corner right now with a dog and he started to head towards them, oh, it's not a good day for him. That's a no-no. You don't go up on them, and you definitely don't decide what I'm gonna do to them or how I'm gonna greet them. So most dogs that have a problem with running up on strangers, after they go through a couple of lows, they see a stranger, they come back to me. Because they're like, I'm not going up on them, and then I say good, and I tell them to stay here, and then I go talk to the stranger. The dog does not assume that they're part of it. They're not part of it unless they're asked. And that's what gets them, with them believing it's not a choice, because they've tasted it, they went up there. I'm not telling them to stay down and then correcting them for breaking the down. I'm letting them make the full mistake first. Go taste it when you know, I said no to that, go see what happens. Then they're not worried about it anymore. They're not thinking about it. They're like, been there, done that. Doesn't equal to anything good. That's one of the reasons why they're not as whiny. If the dog's really whiny, I let them make the mistake until they realize they don't want to do that choice anymore, and the whining goes away. It's just the easiest way to get it done, and I don't have the patience to put up with whining. I give them a little leniency the first, I'd say, week, but after that, I don't want to hear. I don't even want to hear you. Like, I don't even want to hear a little, like a. I don't want to hear that. If I hear that, I heard him earlier today. He made a little tiny like thing, being impatient, and I turned around and looked at him. He was like, no, you know, it's not me. It wasn't me. That's the kind of relationship I want with them. It's like, are you making unwanted noise? If I look at you, do you say, I'm done, and that's all it takes? That means my relationship's right, because that's what it's going to take to keep you in line when we're out here with all this awesome shit that you just want to go towards. It's going to take me just looking at you and you submitting. And that's what I have with him. So, but that's what I went after, because I know that's what I need in order to control him to the degree that we need to for him to live in 2021 with people. This isn't, you know, the 1700s where he could fucking just tear up people that come to your property and nobody asks us questions about it. That's what he's supposed to do. He can't be doing that. So it's interesting because, you know, everything in his, he would love to be able to be like, hey, go after that, you know? But we're telling him, don't go after anything. Don't go after nothing. We don't like it. And so I'm trying to get him into other things, which is like marking and all this shit. And he's doing great. He loves it. Because she's so underdeveloped that it's new to him. So I'm using that as a thing. That's what you do. You smell, you mark the perimeter, you kind of keep an eye on me. It's fun. Every now and then we see wildlife and you want to go after it, but you don't. It's fun. And then we go home.